Greetings fellas, looking at Sampo's placement in the tier list anymore? No, I don't think that's the case. Seili is really hard to put at S plus tier anymore, so she will be put down to A tier. She's currently surpassed by Tan Heng, IL, as well as Kafka, Blade, so she's rendered as bad as pretty much any other Han character at the moment until Topaz and Nambi comes in, and we will see about that. However, Sampo is now S plus tier. I've already proven it so many times in my channel. Sampo and Kafka, amazing dot debuff team. But what really makes Sampo stand out is Sampo and Blade in the same team. Amazing synergy, especially if you have Silver Wolf inside. Sampo acts as a bridge for Silver Wolf and Blade to perform optimally. The reason being is that Silver Wolf without Sprightly Von Wack, and if she is holding another set, Fleet of the Ageless or even Broken Keel, this means that she won't be having enough energy to get her ultimate in 2 turns exactly. However, Sampo with Resolution Shines as Pearls of Sweat is no joke. It's almost 100% guaranteed defense down placement. So the point is that when Silver Wolf strikes a defense down target, Silver Wolf is going to get her ultimate in 2 turns, and I've already proven it in my 0 cycle MOC 10 and 9 runs. So then again, Sampo also applying defense down at the correct time increases Blade's overall damage potential by 36% from a S3 resolution shines as Pearl of Sweat, and 36% from a 14% defense down. And let's say if you have Silver Wolf's bugs, the defense down bug, as well as the 45%, as well as the all type rest down on a separate target, Blade's effective damage can be further amplified to 40% or greater, depending on how many bugs you have. So this is why Sampo and Blade are really one of a kind combo. But if you ask me, which is most efficient, it all depends on your teams in the end of the day. Sampo can go well with Kafka, Sampo can go well with Blade. So Sampo is really difficult to place, and he's such a dangerous unit, especially if you put him with Resolution Shines as Pearl of Sweat. And this is the time where I also updated my podium, where Sampo becomes a breaker with Resolution Shines as Pearl of Sweat, Knight of Purity Palace, or Eagle of Twilight Line if you have a higher level Sampo. But then again, this is where defense shredders come into place. Silver Wolf obviously is still the best defense shredder because 45% defense down on one target is still overkill and contributes mostly to the 0 cycle clears. But then Sampo with Resolution Shines as Pearl of Sweat surpasses Pela in every aspect. Because why so? Pela applies defense down to single targets only via skill and basic attack. Sampo can apply almost 100% guaranteed defense down on all enemy targets as long as you get Sampo's E1, and Sampo's E1 will increase the amount of knives that hit the opponents, especially if you use a skill. So this means that Sampo is getting an extra defense down chance to place a defense down, and this is what really makes Sampo so strong in terms of defense shredder. And the thing is that not many people know how to use Sampo. I can see that I don't see many people making good Sampo guides, and I find that they're missing out one big aspect of Sampo, and this is the defense shredder as well as breaking effect. Yes, of course you can make a break effect Sampo, that's not right or not wrong. But the thing is that Sampo really shines as a defense down placement, especially if you have a unit who can use the ultimate on that moment as well as a follow-up attack. And you know who can execute 3 attacks in one go at the correct time? That is Blade. So if let's say you use your ultimate and then you use your basic attack, and then Blade follows up with talent. So this is 3 attacks in total, and all these attacks all executed during Sampo's defense down. That is why I was able to clear my MOC with 0 cycles from MOC 9 and 10, both Team 1 and Team 2. That's why Sampo is so strong. He's amazing. As you can see, Sampo in the Blade team, he's applying defense down, so you will see this defense down in the form of ensnarement. So I'm going to do a skill here. As you can see, that defense down is applied to the target that has been weakness broken, and this is in the form of ensnarement. And where this happens is that obviously it's only one turn, so you need to time your ultimate and your skill properly. So this is where Blade is going to execute 3 attacks in one ensnarement status. As you can see, 1 basic attack, 1 follow-up attack, and 1 ultimate. And this is able to finish off the enemy in one go. And this is why I was able to get a 0 cycle clear in my Blade team. And that's why I don't really need to level up my level 20 Sampo in a way also. Sampo on his own, very, very strong. Firstly, let's talk about the main problem of Silver Wolf. If you have her at E0, you won't be getting the extra energy regeneration from striking defense down targets. And also, the problem is, if you do not have Sprightly Vonware and you choose to use a Broken Keel for the effect rest so that you don't get imprisoned and support your other allies for crit damage, then this is where Sampo allows to bring a springboard into the gameplay. Sampo acting as a springboard, meaning that when Sampo uses Resolution Shines a Spell of Sweat and moves before Silver Wolf, he is going to apply defense down, and this means that Silver Wolf strikes defense down target and definitely gets an energy increase. So when she strikes a defense down target with her ultimate, that means he will get 15 energy as long as if you have an energy regeneration rope. And this is very, very huge compared to the 5 energy you're getting without defense down and also energy regen rope. So this is Silver Wolf's main problem here, and this light cone she's holding is before the tutorial mission starts, and this means that it only regenerates energy when she strikes a defense down target. This is the main problem of Silver Wolf. So now let's get into Sampo. So this is how I configured my Sampo. As you can see, he's got 157 speed, so he is resistant to deep freeze. Any slowdown effects from any of the frigid prowlers, right? He is invulnerable. So then again, we will come down to where all the magic starts, and this is where Resolution Shines as Pearls of Sweat is here. And S1 is already good enough, and when I say good enough, means that even though it has a 60% base chance at S1, you can see that in the traces at his ultimate, he applies 3 instances of attacks to all enemies, and this means that Sampo is actually very, very strong in terms of applying defense down, even better than Bela. Why so? Because his skill applies 5 instances or 6 instances if you have his E1, which increases 1 extra times. So this means that when you apply the skill on any enemy, they are almost guaranteed to get defense down, and each attack counts as a defense down application. So if they all miss, then it means you're really, really unlucky. The amount of times that my skill and ultimate did not apply a defense down was only 1 time out of the few hundreds and thousand times I've been using my Sampo. So then again, it is almost a 100% effect hit rate, and guess what? You don't even need to have a effect hit rate body on him. So Sampo is excellent at doing this, and the reason why Sampo is better than Bela is due to the skill, solely due to the skill. Of course, Bela, you will say that she applies ultimate for 2 turns, and defense down is definitely a greater number than Sampo. I can understand that, but Sampo can apply via skill also to all enemies. So this is why Sampo is very, very good for destruction units or AoE units, erudition, whatever. But for hunt characters, Bela is still the better choice, since he applies defense down to single targets via skill and basic attack, and ultimate to all targets. So then again, different defense down application units for different characters. So then again, for my relic slots, I'm leaving my Sampo at level 20 because I've already proven how good he is even in a Blade team as well as a Kafka team. But then again, leaving him at level 20 is not wrong. Then again, I'm having a 2-piece Knight of Purity Palace and in the future, Guard of Withering Snow. However, I am using Musketeer of Wildweed only for the speed substats, and this is how I was able to get 157 speed here. So everything is pure defense oriented, and I'm saving my ultimate for the only final part of the battle, and this is where it comes in really handy. And as you can see that Resolution Shines as per Sweat only applies defense decrease for 1 turn, and this is enough for Blade to execute 3 attacks in a row as long as you perform it at the correct time. However, if one might argue would say that Pela obviously is a better choice than Sampo in applying defense down due to her greater defense down multiplier. However, the fact is that she has a chance of allowing Silver Wolf to implant ice weakness, and you do not want that at all. You are better off Silver Wolf applying a wind weakness or applying a quarter weakness. And this is why Pela in a Blade team is not ideal. However, with Sampo, it turns out very strong. And Sampo, as in a pure support team, a supportive team that supports other support characters, like what I've made, Sampo is the bridge to allowing Silver Wolf to charge her ultimate in 2 turns, as well as a catalyst for Blade to deal more damage. I hope this clarifies some of the controversies I have been making in my videos and why some people really need to continue learning, right? Experiment unorthodox builds, see which is the best Nihility unit for your gameplay, and I found that Sampo is doing just the best job, and so far Sampo is the best 4-star Nihility character I have seen in the current meta. That's what I wanted to say. Cheers!